before, wrestling mindset, it's all about, we know that wrestling is anywhere between 50 and 90% mental, that everyone trains 95% physical. Those graphs don't jive. We got to make sure we bridge that gap. We got to be working on our mindset more, especially this time of year. Okay, to win matches in March, late February and March, there's two aspects. Number one, you got to outwork your opponents. You got to prepare. You got to out-prepare your opponents. Okay? You also have to outperform your opponents. You could break your butt in this practice room, in the weight room. There's still going to come a time where you got to step in that line against the guy who's neck and neck with you. And now that preparation's all in the bank. It comes down to performance. So you got to prepare and you got to perform. Two P's, preparation and performance. You got to work on both of them. Most coaches talk about preparation. Most don't talk about performance. That's what we key in on, performing at your best. Okay? So another thing I wanted to really focus on, the main lesson of the night is clarity. Just as we talked about before with the moves, you got to be clear with what you're doing. You don't have to be doing my exact moves. You don't have to be doing Coach Matt's exact moves. But you got to know what you're looking for. If I point to anyone in this room right now, you should be able to tell me what your best takedown is. What's your best takedown? Best takedown. Best takedown. Best takedown. Okay, it's got to be just like that. It can't be, it's probably my low single. It's got to be, it's definitely my low single. Okay? When you're wrestling against people who are stiff competition for you, you're probably only going to hit your top 1 through 3 shots on them. You're probably not going to hit 7, 8, 9. So you got to know, what are my top 3 shots? Same thing on bottom. What moves do you do on bottom? What 2 or 3 moves do you do on bottom? Same thing on top. What are your top 3 moves on top? You got to know. You got to know. It's got to be almost like a game of chess. What are your top 3 moves? And then the key is really focusing on that between now and the end of the season. If you fill your head with a lot of stuff, if you fill your head with a ton of moves, you're probably not going to hit any in a match. I don't know, maybe some of you guys are like me. When I stepped on the line in matches in high school, sometimes I'd be thinking, how am I going to take this man down? Right? I know there's a double leg, a high crotch, a low single, a sweep single. How am I going to take this man down? Until you make it very simple for yourself. Make it easy for yourself. What are your top 3? You're looking for one of those 3. There's no doubt about it. You can't be thinking about 5 or 6 moves when you step on the line. Thinking about your top 1 through 3. That's it. And the same thing on top. There's a lot of things, there's dozens of things you can do on top. If you're not crystal clear, you're probably not going to hit anything. The best wrestlers know what they're going to. Look at Jordan Burroughs. What does he do? Double. He also does a low single, and he does a snap down, go behind. So there you go. Well, if you have Jordan Burroughs scouted, think you're going to beat him? It's tough, right? That's a tough thing. But it's because he's so clear, he knows what he's doing. David Taylor, what does he do? Ankle pick. Yeah, he gets it on everyone though, right? So don't worry about who's got you scouted, who might have you figured out. Throw all that stuff out. Focus on your best technique. Again, you all have the scouting report on Jordan Burroughs. Good luck stopping him. You know, so it's the same thing with you. You might not be Jordan Burroughs, and that's okay. You all have moves that work for you. I'd assume most of you are year-round wrestlers. You all have moves you practice constantly. You got to be very clear with what you're doing. You can't step on the line thinking, what am I going to do? You got to know. Okay? And the other thing is, a lot of your friends around this time of year are going to be talking about perfecting technique. How many people have heard that? At the end of the season, we're trying to perfect our technique, right? Well, I like to move away from that. Because even if your name is Jordan Burroughs, David Taylor, or Kyle Dake, your technique's never going to be perfect. It's just not. You can clean up your technique, you can improve your technique, but throw out that word perfect or perfection. When I was doing my master's degree, my thesis was on perfectionism. Wrestlers who were more perfectionistic, where everything had to be just right, they got more nervous, they wrestled worse. That was the result of my thesis. Wrestlers who were more perfectionistic, everything had to be just right, they got more nervous, they wrestled worse. So you can't be looking at things in terms of perfection. It's got to be good enough. Okay? Maybe this is different than the things you've heard all your life, but if you're waiting for the absolute perfect time to shoot, you're probably not going to shoot at all. So once it looks good enough, you got to go. Once it looks good enough, you got to go. Fire off your shot. You got to be aggressive. Like we were talking about before, attitude. Attitude, Russell, right?
Yes, sir.
Like you said before, he's right. You got to wrestle with attitude. And Bruce Lee always talks about that too. Watch some YouTube clips of him. He's like, when you're out there, you have to wrestle. You have to fight with attitude. You have to have not anger, but emotional content. That's what Bruce Lee said. Emotional content. That's what he's talking about. Attitude. When you hit a move, you might have the best double in the world, But if you're, penetrate, I come in, I pop up, there's no attitude behind it. You can't be a mechanical man. You got hit with attitude. There's got to be pop in your step. Okay, but that's all mindset. That's all mindset. If you do that in the room, if you practice that on your own, that's what's going to happen out in the match. It's got to be a constant thing where you're thinking about competing with attitude and very clear. Know what you're doing. Does that make sense to everyone, the clarity? Okay? I have no doubt you guys all know dozens of things to do on top. You better get it, narrow it down to your top 3 things. That's what you're going to hit the best guys in the state with. Guys who are neck and neck with you, you're going to hit your 1 through 3 on it. If you fall into something else, you fall into something else. But look for your 1 through 3. Same thing on top, same thing on bottom. And here's the thing, I wouldn't get caught up too much. In high school, we'd take down a wall. High crotch, low single, double, duck under. And I used to go through all of them. I used to spend just as much time drilling shots I never hit as the shots I hit all the time. Don't get caught into that trap. Drill the things you're going to use. Make it freaky. Make your best moves freaky. You got to do it. You probably have seen some people who, they came out for the sport, maybe they were football player, baseball. Maybe they took up the sport later on in their career, but they got real good very fast. That's because they focus on a few moves that they get really good at, as opposed to learning a whole ton of moves. So, keying in on what you're going to do. Anyway, those are the type of things we talk about in our wrestling mindset program. We do all of our talks over the phone, and again, the stuff we do, we give you guys the same exact things that we give Iowa State, Rutgers, Maryland, Michigan. We work with those teams. I talk to them all twice a month. We give you guys the same things that we give them. We don't change up our content for middle school, high school, and college. Our college guys have the same things you guys think are the same thing our college wrestlers think. So don't think there's a big difference between you guys. You're right there. You just got to be making sure you capitalize on these things. All right. And again, if there's any doubts that you're going to be achieving your goal, you all have goals, I'm sure. If I point to you, you'd be able to name your goals, right? I'm not going to do it. You guys know what your goals are? If there's any doubt that you're not going to achieve that goal at the end of the season, which is normal, let's talk about it. Let's get that under control. It's just like finishing that sweep single that we talked about before. If you don't practice that sweep single over and over and over, don't think you're going to wake up one morning and all of a sudden you're going to finish it. You got to practice it constantly. Yeah, that's going to work for you. That finish is going to work for you, absolutely. Just keep practicing it over and over. That goes for everyone else in the room. Anything I say to one person, I say to everyone. You have to practice it over and over. You can't just expect to do it once and then it'll all get better. So if there's any doubt in your mind that you're not, getting that medal or getting that bracket that you're looking for, you got to let us know. Let's talk about that stuff. Okay? I wish in high school, the reason why I do wrestling mindset is this is what I wish I had when I was your age. That's my motivation. That's why I do what I do. Because, if my mind was ready, maybe instead of taking 3rd in the state, I would have taken 1st. And you don't want to look back at that regret. You want to look back and say, I did everything I possibly could. I did my strength training. I got my proper nutrition. I went to the club, and I did my mindset training. Check, check, check. I left it all on the mat. You feel very good about that. But if you look back in your career and you're like, I didn't take control of my nutrition. I was eating like crap. I didn't take control of my strength training. I stopped lifting during the season. I didn't come to the club, so my technique wasn't on point, and I didn't work on my mindset. Then you have some of the boxes unchecked. You don't want to go through that. Okay, so I guess we're probably about out of time. Any questions you guys have? We have our stuff posted up in front. Where's our posters in the front over here?
Yeah.
And in the back. So again, our Wrestling Mindset Monday, call up, listen to us. It's a call every Monday night at 9 o'clock. We talk about, we have a topic of the night. The other night we talked about 5 mindset red flags. I spoke for 10 minutes, then we opened up the floor for anonymous questions. So we have people call from all around the country. It's really cool. So every Monday night at 9, make sure you get a hold of us. All right? It doesn't get better. You don't wake up one day all of a sudden being confident and being able to relax. It's a process. So just make sure you use the resources you have. All right, we're good for tonight. Give yourselves a hand.